Hello, my name is Rachel and I'm here today to talk about my reading resolutions 2018. The list I made last year went pretty well. I did do most of the things that were on that list. The two things that I didn't do or didn't finish are on this list because I'm still hoping to continue with them. The first thing is to read 5 books off a list that you can't see and that I can't tell you because I can't remember what's on it. I made a video last year. It was a short video that I will link in the cards, and it was a list of books I wanted to read over the next few years, like a bit of a book bucket list for like 5 or 10 years. And this had books that I really wanted to reread, classics that I wanted to read, modern classics I wanted to read, any like big event books that I'd missed the boat on, things like that. And I set myself the target last year of reading 5 books off that list. I think I ended up reading about 10 off it, so that was great. And I want to just set the same goal this year, read another 5 off that list. So yeah, that is the first resolution. Like I said, I will link it if you want to go and check what that list is, because I can't remember everything that's on there. I just know it was a lot of classics, a lot of modern classics, and a lot of rereads. That's all I can remember. The next reading goal that I have is to read 3 writing craft books. I have one here in Switzerland, and this is the main one that I'm hoping to read at the moment. This is Save the Cat Writes a Novel by Jessica Brody. This is about story structure and plot beats and things like that. I'm also hoping to read Bird by Bird by, I think she's called Anne Lamott. I got that one for Christmas and I'm really hoping to pick that up soon. And the other book, I don't really know yet, but I just want to make sure that I am keeping on top of learning about the craft of writing as well as practice. I do a lot of practice now. I'm at a good point where I have like daily habits and I can call myself a writer without feeling ashamed because I don't write anything. Like, I feel very good about saying that I write things now, but I don't have a lot of experience craft wise and things like that, so it's definitely something that I want to work on. The next goal is one that I had last year and that I'm continuing this year. So last year I wanted to read all of Jane Austen's works in the year of 2018. That didn't work out, unfortunately. I read quite a lot of her juvenilia, I read The Watsons, I read Lady Susan, and then I reread Northern Rabbit, reread Pride and Prejudice, and read Sense and Sensibility for the first time. So taking that forward, the books that I have left from Jane Austen are Mansfield Park, Emma, and Persuasion. So I'm hoping to get to all of these this year. I did already start Mansfield Park, but I started it too soon after finishing Pride and Prejudice, and I'd started Pride and Prejudice straight after I read Sense and Sensibility, so I kind of needed a bit of a break. I was reading them too close together. I'm not annoyed at myself for not finishing this goal last year because I definitely made some good progress, and I'm going to read the rest this year, so I'm good. Next, we do have a goal that I absolutely failed on, and that is that I really wanted to read Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy in 2018. And I didn't. I did read the first 3 chapters. It's split into parts, the book. I think it's about 8 parts. So I thought I was going to end up reading like a part a month. But I read the first 2 or 3 chapters and was like, actually, this is really good. I don't need to read it in parts. I will probably just sit and read the whole thing. So then I didn't pick it up. And that was the issue. So I'm hoping to read this. And then we have some books that I don't have here. I am planning to leave Switzerland, hopefully in April, but maybe the start of May. So the rest of these goals are based on books that I have back at home in England because, yeah, I'm going to be in England for most of the year. So the first one is to reread and finish a book called Mythago Wood, which I will insert on the screen. This is a book that I was reading as part of a fantasy course when I was at university, but it just so happened that I was in 3rd year. It was towards the end of the year. I was very, very stressed, and I knew that I wouldn't write an essay on this book. So it got sacrificed. However, I was 100 pages into it, and it was phenomenal. It's about this forest, and we follow this young man whose father was obsessed with this forest. It's on like the edge of his land. He was obsessed with it. He used to go missing for days because he'd go in this forest, and he was just like, his life was this forest. It's a fantasy book, so it's like there's other shit going on. It's not just a normal forest. And he, I think, goes to war or something along those lines, and his brother goes to sort his dad's stuff out because the dad died, and he gets obsessed with this forest, and then he goes missing. So then the brother goes back to the father's house and to where this forest is, and it's like, okay, what the fuck's up with this forest? What's the story? Yeah, like I said, I got 100 pages into it. I was so into it, and it's a book that always pops back up in my head as being like a book that I was loving and I wish I had finished. So my goal this year is that I want to reread the start of it, and then I want to finish it and find out finally what happened. We have The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. I haven't read any Jeffrey Eugenides, even though I think I've got all of his books. I've got The Marriage Plot, Middlesex, and The Virgin Suicides, which I think are all of them, but I'm not sure. The one that I really, really, really want to read is Middlesex. However, I've seen the film of The Virgin Suicides and I really enjoyed it, and I always hear about that book, and I think it'll be a really good book to start with. I have this thing where if I really want to read a book by an author, I always want to read another book by them first to kind of get me into their writing style. And I think it's because when I read Han Kang's The Vegetarian, I feel like I would have got a lot more out of it and enjoyed it a lot more if I knew Han Kang's writing style first, because when I first went into The Vegetarian, it was so weird that it was hard to get my head around at first. So yeah, I kind of have this thing with getting into an author before I'll read the book that I want to read. It's the reason that I've not read Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I just started like inching around Rebecca and reading her other books instead of reading the one that I really want to read. It's a bit weird. Anyway, yeah, so hoping to pick up The Virgin Suicides. This is about, I think there's 5 sisters and they commit suicide, and it's like a group of boys in the neighbourhood, like young boys, who are kind of like watching what's going on and narrating it. I think that's the basic plot if I'm remembering the film correctly. So I want to read that. Then the next thing I want to read is The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Another one that I've had on my shelf for years and years and years. And I read a book called Plot and Structure. I will insert it here. And this book constantly referred to The Catcher in the Rye and how it was structured and plotted. And I feel like I would have got a lot more from that book if I had read The Catcher in the Rye already and knew the structure, so I could like think about it and analyse it along with the way that the author was doing. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. However, when he was talking about it, sounded friggin' awesome, and I was like, I'm gonna put that on my list. I really, really want to finally get to it. So I'm gonna try and read that one. The Catcher in the Rye is about a young boy. I can't remember, is he called Holden? I feel like he's called Holden, but Caulfield. That might be it, Holden Caulfield. I'm not exactly sure because I can't remember. I will insert it somewhere. If I got it right, there'll probably be some exclamation marks. But this is about a boy who is, I think he's very like anti-school and anti-education, and then he goes off, like either runs away or goes travelling or does something like that. I don't know. I'm butchering the plot of this book and it's like a modern classic, but yeah, that's what it's basically about. And the last goal that I have on this list might be a little bit controversial. I have never read the Northern Lights trilogy. I have tried. The first time I tried was when it first came out, when there was all that hype around it just before the film came out. I remember trying to read it when I was quite young and being like, why is this girl stuck in a cupboard? Are we ever going to leave this cupboard? It's been like 1,000 pages and she's still in this cupboard. I'm not reading this book anymore. I feel like that might be an exaggeration of my childhood self, because I did try to read it last year and I didn't think that she was in a cupboard for 1,000 pages. So that was just my younger self being impatient, I think. That was my first experience trying to read it. Second experience didn't go that well. I got a Kindle for Christmas 2 years ago, and when I moved to Switzerland, I put loads and loads of books on this Kindle and brought it here, and it was the biggest heap of shit. I will never, ever, 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 ever buy another Kindle. It was one of the ones that looks a bit like a tablet. I think it's like a Fire, something like that. And it was shit. The battery would not work. I had to plug it in to use it, and the like wire was really short. So it was just really uncomfortable to try and read books on it. And this all started happening when I was reading the first book in the Northern Lights trilogy. So I started reading, I think I got about 30% through it, and I was quite enjoying it. I wouldn't say I was loving it, but I was quite enjoying it. And then this Kindle just kept packing up, and I was like, for fuck's sake, I'm not dealing with this. So I just was like, no. So put the Kindle aside. Didn't have the physical book with me because I was in Switzerland. And then I tried listening to it on audiobook about a month later, starting from the same point, and I couldn't remember anything that had happened, so I put it down again. So, bad experience with those books. However, I don't think I can fairly judge it over that Kindle situation, because I was kind of enjoying it and I was just really fucked off about the Kindle. So, this year is the last ditch try. I've got the really nice collector's edition that has all 3 books in one, and I'm going to try this year to read it, and if it doesn't work, I'm never going to try and read it again. It's clearly not a book for me. But I am going to give it that last try, because I feel like it's not the book's fault that my Kindle was a pile of shit. And I should have known to just stick to physical books, because that's what I was saying for years and years and years and years and years. And then someone buys me a Kindle and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll try it. No. Never ever going to try that again. Sorry to any Kindle users watching this, because I feel like I'm really slagging off your Kindle right now, but I just it's not for me. Wasn't a good experience. So yeah, they're all my resolutions for the year of 2019. That is how I hope my reading goes. We will see how I do with these resolutions, but I think I've got some pretty good ones. I haven't actually given myself too much pressure or like specific books to read, so I think I will definitely be able to meet quite a few of these goals, if not all. So thank you very much for watching. If you have made any 2019 goals or resolutions, let me know what they are down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!